Alright, so welcome to the channel. I'm Shredder Wheats. We're currently on the apron in Moncton at CYQN. We're going to be doing a practice stream today for the channel. I'm going to call it PPL to ATPL. I plan on using the flight training syllabus to do all the maneuvers and the exercises for the PPL license and the ATL, ATPL license. So first, disclaimer, so I'm not an actual flight instructor. I've not flown in a few years. However, I will be acting as the simulated student and the simulated instructor. So I'm going to be following the flight instructor guides. I'd more or less like to see kind of if there's any interest in the channel, but I'd also like to learn and keep my proficiency at an acceptable level. All right, so during these streams, depending on the interest, so I'll be doing the full nav logs, weight and balance. I'll also be using the current CFS and the CAP for charts during the flights. So feel free to leave any comments on what you'd like to see more of or what you'd like to see less of. So for in the meantime, so for this flight, I'll omitted most of the pre-flight planning. So we're just going to be doing just the basic checks, and then we'll do a little circuit, and then we'll head back and come back into land for all right. All right, so we're currently in the Cessna 172. So the pre-flight has already been completed, so I've already done that. But right now we'll do the before start checklist, and then we'll roll over to the apron 2. And then from there we'll do our run-up checks, and then we'll go out and do a little flight. All right. So on my other screen here, I have just a couple things. So I have the CFS. So I'll bring that over just so you can see it. So this is the Moncton Airport here. So we're currently down here just next to Bravo Taxiway on apron 2. So we're going to move over to our left a little bit here once we start the engines, and then we'll do a run-up check, and then we'll taxi in. So the current winds I have on another screen as well. I'll bring that over. So the current winds here in Moncton as of about 38 minutes ago, the winds are 240 at 13. A few clouds out and around us. It's not really a factor. The lowest is a few at 2,500, but our top altitude is going to be about 1,000 feet. So the temperature is currently 10 degrees, dew point 6, and the altimeter is 3017, which I already have set on the altitude display there. So we'll bring that back over there. All right, so we're going to go ahead. We'll start up here. We'll do our checks, and then we'll start moving. All right, sweet. So we'll start off with the before start checklist. So the first one here, so pre-flight inspection is complete. So I've already done that off stream. Again, depending on the interest, we can do the pre-flight inspection, and we'll actually go around, kind of check the things that we're supposed to. The second one here, so chocks, locks, tow bar, and cow cover is confirmed removed. The wheel chocks, pitot cover, tie downs, and cow plugs are actually simulated in this 172. But for now, we'll just like again, I've already taken those off. All right, so the hops meters record. So the hops is currently at 28.1. That's just this guy over here, 28.1. Passenger brief. So I'm just going to disregard the passenger brief for this time. But again, depending on the interest, we can kind of go into more detail and depth on actual procedures. So loose articles removed and secured. So everything here in front of me is good and secure. My seats adjusted and locked. Seat belts secure and adjusted. Quotations. Ensure the seatbelt inertial reel locking is set, and we'll say that that's good to go. So the doors closed and locked. So they're not actually simulated in this 172. Radios, electrics are all off. So that's the radio stack here, everything's off. So the ADF is going to be on when there's no power, but that's the 172 kind of internal systems and stuff. Alright, so all circuit breakers, the circuit breakers in this is actually simulated, so all these are all in and checked. Disregard the GPS. And the GPS, it used to say in-op at one point, and I guess there was an update and they changed it for GPS for some reason. But what it does is it actually, when you pop that circuit breaker, it actually on the outside, ooh, camera's all crazy. It actually, let me go outside here. It turns on the auxiliary power unit. So that's kind of a little neat thing here. Let me get my camera all situated. Alright, so the elevator trim, manually check and set. So we'll go ahead and bring that down to the takeoff position. Flight controls, full left, full right, full left, full forward. Flight controls check free. Fuel selectors down in the bottom here. Something I'll do too is as I'm kind of going over these checks, I can bring my mouse over it and we'll highlight it just so everybody can see where I'm at, where I'm looking. So the flight controls check free, fuel selectors on both. Fuel shutoff valve is this guy here, it's pushed in. The brakes are tested and set. Alright, so pop that back off. Alright, so the engine start check is the next one. Engine start with battery. So we're going to go beacon on. That's this guy over here. Flaps are retracted. I'm actually going to keep those out for right now until we start up the engines because the battery is getting a little bit low. I've had it on for a little while. So instead of using the battery power, we're just going to keep those in. So we will omit, flaps retract, throttle, open to quarter. Mixture is auto cutoff, master switch is on. So if engine is warm, omit steps 6, 7, and 8. So that's going to be the basically priming the engine with fuel. And we don't actually have to simulate that right now, but we are still warm. So next thing, so we'll go prop area, check and call clear. So in real life, we would open the window, we would look outside just to confirm that there's nobody around the propeller as we start it. So we would do that, we would open the window and basically shout out or call out prop clear. So we'll just pretend that we've done that. Alright, so ignition switch, start position. And the next few checks are going to be a little bit quick, so what we're going to do is we're going to put the ignition to the start. Once the propeller starts moving, we can put the mixture, and we'll advance it smoothly to the rich position. And we're also going to be checking down here for the oil pressure. Alright, so let's go ahead and we'll fire up the engine. That was a little bit, but that's okay. Alright, oil pressure's up. Alright, nav lights as required. So during these flights, we're going to have most of our lights always on. And especially in a training environment, you want to be seen as best as possible. So we'll keep most of our lights on for most of our flights. Alright, so that's that check complete. So the next one's before taxi checklist. Alright, so fuel selector, left tank, avionics master switch on, radios, go ahead, turn those all on. Okay, radios are all on. Computer, so the power function test on the autopilot, that was just complete, that was the tone that you heard. So now it has the flashing barrel. And like I said, the altimeter is 3017, so we'll go ahead and set that for the autopilot. So 3017 is set. Alright, so we're going to do an autopilot system check here. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn the autopilot on. You can see that the roll mode and vertical speed has illuminated. So now that it's on, next thing here, we're going to go over the flight control. So I'm not too sure what that is. Okay. We're just going to disregard her voice. I don't think I've ever heard that before, but that's fine. Alright, so flight control check, so full left, full right, so it's not actually going to simulate that right now, but it does actually do the aft and forward, so we're going to go aft, forward, and basically what we're checking is to make sure that we can overpower the autopilot when it's activated. So that's check complete, and the next one is the autopilot disconnect. We're going to press the disconnect switch, and we're going to hear the autopilot disconnect tone, which is right there. Alright, so the elevator trim kind of went crazy on us there, so we're going to set that back for takeoff. That's the next one. And the next one is alternate static. So the alternate static's right here. Basically, we'll check to see it's in, but it's also to check to confirm that it works. And so on the ground, it's not actually simulated here in the MSFS environment, but what you do is you'd actually pull it out, and your vertical speed, because the change in static pressure on the outside and the inside of the cabin, your vertical speed will actually kind of fluctuate, or you'll have like a little dip, but I don't actually see that happening in the sim here, but that's fine. So we'll go ahead, we'll put that back in. Next one, so flight instruments. So flight instruments, we want to make sure that the heading indicator is aligned with our magnetic compass, which it is. And the attitude bug is good to go. Alright, so the flight instruments are set. The next thing we're going to do is check the ATIS. So we'll go here to the radios. Alright, so the ATIS here in Moncton is on frequency 128.65. So we'll go ahead, we'll tune that in, and we'll just listen to the automated information system there.
Moncton Airport information, Quebec 1300 Zulu. Wind 257 at 26. Visibility, 9er. Sky condition, hue clouds at 3,200 feet, hue clouds at 4,800 feet, hue clouds at 13,800 feet. Temperature, 10. Dew point, 1 tree. Altimeter tree 0.17. ILS runway 29er in use. Landing and departing runway 29er. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact you have Quebec.
Alright, so we had Quebec there. So you did actually hear her say the winds are at 158, I believe, at 26, I think she said. So the 158 is correct because it's a magnetic heading. On CFPS there, the chart that I brought up, I should bring it back up here right quick. So the METAR here, 240 at 13. So 240 is actually a true heading, not magnetic. So you actually have to calculate that when you're doing your checks. So the heading was correct. The wind speed, the current wind speed is actually confirmed to be 13, so 13 knots. It did say it was 26. So the reason is that Active Sky is the weather engine that we're using to simulate real world weather. And within that confines, there's a setting, I turned it on a while ago. I may turn it back off, but there's a setting that does, I don't know, something. And what it does, it'll actually cause MSFS to read wind speeds at double the rate. So there's nothing to be concerned about there. So the wind speeds are checked and they're within limitations for this aircraft. She also said runway 29 was the active runway, which in most cases it actually would be, but for us right now, we're actually going to be using runway 24. Alright, so I'll go ahead, I'll bring this back off the screen here. Okay, so alternate static flight instruments, ATIS, so Yankee 48. So Yankee 48 is actually the Moncton Flight College dispatch. So we're not actually going to go ahead and call them up right now. Again, if we want to do, like I said, depending on the interest, we can do a lot more real procedures. But for right now, we'll actually just skip that one. It's an ATC clearance, so I'm not currently on VATSIM, so I don't have any controllers online. So I'm not going to go ahead and do any radio procedures for this flight. It's just going to be a quick one. So the altimeter, clock, and transponder. So the altimeter is set to the field elevation of 232 feet. And the clock is set, UTC is 1351, local time is 1051, so the clock is good to go. Transponder, we're going to use 3143 as a transponder code. But again, if there was another controller online, they would either issue us a squawk code, but we don't need to do that right now, so we'll keep that as is. All right, so we're ready so before taxi checklist is complete there. So the next thing we're going to do right quick is the electric trim test. And I actually have it set up here so it works appropriately. So for this one, there's two switches. So the electric trim is these two switches right here. So the right side that won't highlight. But both of these switches have to be activated at the same time for the trim to actually function. So if one side is up and the other isn't, the trim's not going to trim. So a function test for this is to actually confirm that that's working correctly by changing either the left side up, left side down, no trim movement. Next one's right side up, right side down, still no trim movement. Left side and right side up, trim moves, left side, right side down, and trim again moves. So trim is functioning correctly. Next thing is taxi check. So the flight control is going to be deflected into the wind. So something I like to do is actually use the bug indicator for the heading. I'll bug out where the winds are coming from. So it's about 250. It's about 250. So we'll go ahead and bug 250 there. We're going to have our controls deflected into that wind as we taxi out to the run-up position. All right, so the taxi area confirmed clear. Brakes, we'll do a brake check once we start rolling. Steering, same thing. We'll do a little steer check, and I'll kind of go over what we're looking at and what we should be looking at. Flight instruments, same thing. All right, so we're good to go to move over to there. We're not actually going to go too far, but that's fine. All right, so clear on the left, clear on the right, and we'll actually go ahead and I'll bring the flaps up now. All right, so the parking brake's off, so we'll give it just a little bit of fuel. Move forward, do a little brake check. Okay, brakes are checked. All right, so we can start our steering and flight instruments check right now. So we're actually going to turn to the left. And what we want to see is the superimposed airplane on the indicator here turn to the left, and we want to see the ball goes to the right, which it did, and that's perfect. Okay, so we're going to stop right about here. This is where we're going to do our run-up check. We want to be facing into the wind, which we are. So we'll go ahead, we'll set the parking brake here. All right, so the engine run-up checklist. So the parking brake is set, passenger seats upright, seat belts are checked, secure, flight controls, full left, full right, full left, and full forward, flight controls check free. Fuel quantity checked. So the fuel quantity is over here, so we have 56 gallons in the tanks, 53 gallons actually usable. Mixture. So the mixture is set full rich. Fuel selector is on the right side, so we'll switch that over to the right side. And so for right now, I'm just going to go through things as quickly as I can, or as quickly as is safe. But the next subsequent flights that we'll do, we'll kind of go over a little bit more in depth and in detail of the system checks that we're doing, why we're doing them, and kind of what we're looking at and what we're looking for. So the fuel selector valve is the right tank, so throttle up to 1800 RPMs. Okay, so we do have a little indication of a rough running engine right now, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pause the checklist for the time being. I'm going to lean out the mixture. I'm going to allow the spark plugs to warm up. and it was actually just a small little roughness, so it looks like it's actually good to go already. Alright, so now we're going to do the ignition switch ignition system check. So we're going to go turn the mags to the left, so we're checking the spark plugs basically for any kind of fouling. So left is checked, reset, right side check. Okay, check's complete. RPMs. Alright, so back engage. So back engage is over here. Back engage is 5.5, indicating normal. Engine instruments. So we want to make sure that our temperatures and pressures are in the green arcs. The temperature is starting to rise up. Pressure is in the green arc, and check. So the ammeter. So right now we're showing a slightly positive charge. So the battery itself is being charged. One thing I like to do is I'll put a little load on the electrical system by activating the landing lights. And I just basically want to look at the ammeter and confirm that there's no discharge, battery discharge. So the landing lights are on. Still a positive indication of the charging system working. Another thing I like to do is I'll actually turn the alternator off. And then what you'll see is the battery is now discharging, so it's got a negative charge rate. You're supposed to actually see the illuminated volts light flash up here, but I see that's not actually doing that. That's fine. Alright, so the alternator's back on, showing positive charge. It's working. Next thing, annunciator panel. So we're going to go up to the test position. So we have two ambers, two reds. Annunciator panel is good. Throttle will check the idle. So we'll bring it back to idle, check the idle jet. Idle jet is good, up to 1,000 RPMs. And then we'll switch the fuel selector back on the both position there. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and change that. Alright, so that's the engine check, run-up check complete. Alright, the next one's going to be the before takeoff checklist. So throttle friction locks are adjusted and set, not required. Fuel selectors confirmed on both. Fuel shutoff valves pushed in. Mixture is confirmed rich. Master is on. Ignition switch is both. Trims is set for takeoff. Flight controls. Full left, full right, full left, full forward. Flight controls check 3. Alright, so the wind direction, so we can confirm that on our taxi out. We'll see the wind socks, so we can look at those and verify the wind direction. Radios, set frequency and transmit. So I do have it on the en route VATSIM frequency of 122.8, but I'm currently not on VATSIM, so we have no traffic and no ATC. So we'll disregard that. So for the taxi route, it says to visualize. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the CFS back here again. No, right. Okay, that's all right. Get back up mounted. Just give me 1 quick second here. Scroll down. Okay, so Moncton procedures chart. So this is the Moncton area. This is where all the training centers are. Just basically surrounding this area. These are special, not so much special, but they're VFR terminal departures and arrivals out of Moncton. Alright, so these here are the actual training areas. Primarily, we're going to be up here in 1 Bravo, 1 Charlie. We might go down towards the south for 4 Bravo sometimes. So here's, again, the Moncton Airport. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw on the map here. So we're currently right here, right here on apron 2. So we're going to taxi out to runway 24 on Delta. So we're going to taxi out to here. We're going to take taxiway Alpha. We're going to take Charlie. We're going to cross 29, and then we'll go on to Delta, and then we'll hold short 24. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off, turn to the left, and we'll fly out this way. Just had to pause the mic there for a second. I'm coughing a lot for some reason today. Alright, so we'll take that back off. And, the next thing we're going to do, so the next part of the checklist is the holding shoulder. So we'll go ahead, parking brakes coming off, do a left check, right check, make sure that there's no traffic around us. Alright, then we're good to go. So we already did our flight instruments check on the taxi, short taxi here. We did the left check. So we're going to be turning out to the right so we can actually do another check here. So we're going to turn to the right, and we want to see that our superimposed airplane on the turn coordinator is actually turned to the right. And we want to see that the ball is actually moving to the left. So that is correct. And also during the turns, our horizontal situation indicator, so our heading indicator, is actually turning clockwise and counterclockwise appropriately. Alright, so we're currently on Alpha. Alpha is controlled, but of course there's no controllers online right now. But if we were on VATSIM, we would be making a radio call stating that we're taxiing on, on Alpha. Goodness, I can't speak today. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to taxi up Alpha over to Charlie. And we're going to try to keep our speed around 10 knots and below. Alright, so actually I'm going to switch things up a little bit. We're actually going to take off from runway 29, just because the winds are actually quite light for us today, and they are, again, within limitations for this plane. So we're going to scratch this. I'm just going to put a random color here. So we're going to taxi up. We're going to hold short of Charlie, and we're going to take off runway 29. And then we're going to join the circuit for a left downwind 29, and then we'll land back here. And then we'll aim for Bravo, and then we'll come back into the apron, and we'll get set for the next flight. Alright, so we're currently on taxiway Charlie here. We are short of runway 29, so we're going to stop here for a quick second, and then we'll finish up the checklist here. Alright, so the brakes are applied. I'm going to bring it up to 1,000 RPM. Alright, so before takeoff checklist below the lines, time records. The time is currently 11:04. Compass and heading indicator will check once we line up. So clear to line up to the transponder. On alts, landing in strobes, taxi lights on, and the wind direction. Where is that? I don't know what the wind sock is. Oh, there it is there. Interesting. Alright, so that's so we can confirm the wind is coming from that direction, so we're good to go. Alright, so brakes disengage, and then we'll go up, we'll line up, and we'll take off. Alright, so again, clear right and clear left. And again, for this flight here, we're going to disregard the radio procedures, but subsequent flights we'll get into that. We'll do proper radio procedures. Okay, so we're on runway 29, so we are all set. Everything's temperatures, pressures are in the green. We're good to go. Alright, so throttle full. 1, 2, 3, throttle set. And airspeed's live. Temperatures, pressures in the green. 55, rotate. Turn my TV down just a little bit here. Alright, so we're going to pitch for about 74 knots. That's our best rate of climb in this aircraft. Alright, so we're over the threshold, so we're actually going to take our left turn here. We're above 200 feet is the minimum school procedures, SOPs. But we'll go ahead and make our left turn here. Alright, so we're about 1,000 feet over the airport now, so we'll go ahead and we'll level out. And our speed's up to about 100 knots here, so we'll go back and we will put 2,300 RPMs here in the traffic speed. So I skipped the climb check and cruise check, but we can quickly go over it right now. So the climb check, just making sure pitch attitude is as required, throttle's full, trim is set, engine instruments were in the green, flaps were up, landing light is off, but we'll keep those on. Engine cowling, just to make sure that there's no oil flowing over top of it, is checked clean. And the cruise check here, so again, pitch attitude is set for cruise. We're actually in the circuit, so we're going to disregard those. Throttle set at 2,300 RPMs, mixture, and trim is as required. The engine instruments, again, are Alright, so the descent and in-range checks will actually skip. We'll start the before landing checklist here now. So the pilot and passenger seats are upright, seat belts are secure and locked. Engine gauge, again, are in the green. Temperatures, pressures. Ignition switches on both. Mixture is set rich. Fuel valve selector is in both. And the autopilot is disconnected. So we're on our base lag here now. We're going to turn corner here in just a moment. We are a little bit further out than we really need to be. That's fine. So we'll go ahead and we'll actually turn into our final right now. So we'll just make a standard rate general left turn here. Alright, so we'll go down to about, throttle down to about 1500 RPM. We'll let the speed bleed off. So we want about 65 to 70 knots decent here. So we keep our level out. So we're under 110, so flaps 10, speed checked. Got a little bit of turbulence here too. Just a little bit bumpy, but that's fine. Excuse me. Alright, so under 85, speed check, flaps 20. So we're going to change our attitude and trim out for about 65 knots. We're going to use the throttle to actually manipulate our descent rate vertical speed. So it is a little bit bumpy right here, but that's fine. So our speed's about 65. We're going to aim for those big markers. It's the 1200 foot markers there, just right in front of us. So everything's looking good, speed's looking good. We're actually going to go flaps 30. So under 85, speed check, flaps 30. And a little bit to the right now, so what I'm going to do is pull back to the left, check speed. A little bit calmer here. Flaps are coming up there, so we're a little bit past the 1200 foot mark, but that's all right. Alright, so we're off the active runway, so we're going to go strobes, landing, taxi lights off, and transponders off as well. Alright, so after landing checklist, so ATC clearance, not required. Landing, surface, taxiway cleared. Aircraft stop, not required. Transponder standby. Time record, so it's currently 11:15. Lights, as required, so the lights are off. Landing, taxi, and strobe. Flaps are retracted, flaps are up, pitot heat's off. So just pay attention to where I'm actually steering. Alright, so we'll taxi back over to the college there, and we'll do the engine shutdown procedure, and then we'll call her a day. Alright, so we're back on the apron here at the Moncton Flight College, so we'll just pull up just a little bit more here and then we'll stop and shut down the aircraft. Alright, so right here is good enough. Alright, so the engine shut down and secure aircraft. So parking brake is set, radios and nav aids, so we're going to go ahead and turn those all off. Okay, radios are all off. All other electrical equipment, equipment is off. Master power is off. Switches, so nav light, beacon light are all off. Throttle down to idle. Ignition switch. So if I do go ahead and I turn the ignition switch off, it's actually going to turn off the engine, which I mean it's supposed to, but you're also supposed to turn it back to the both position rapidly, and the engine would stay on. So what we would be looking for here is to make sure that the ignition system isn't live and it's not actually going to keep the engine running when we go to the off position. All right, so I'm just going to pretend that we're going to the off position. So off back. Ooh. Okay, I guess even going to the left and the right doesn't work. All right, but that's okay. So afterwards, we would actually put it back to the magnetos to the both position. We would increase the throttle up to 1,000 RPM, and then we would go mixture idle cutoff, and that's what would actually turn off the engine. But anyways, that's fine. All right, so the master switch. Sorry, where are we? So mixture, ignition off and remove, master switch off, hobs record, and then forget about that. Let's take a look. Yeah, my camera. I gotta fix my camera. It's all crazy, crazy. So 28.4. Control locks as required. Tie downs, chocks as required. Not required. All right. So that's everything for this shutdown and airplane securing. So that's all good. All right. So that was the quick little circuit there. Again, just depending on the interest of the channel and the interest of kind of what we're doing here, we might go into more in-depth on systems and stuff like that. But the next one that we're doing here, the next flight that I planned, so I'm just going to bring it up right quick here. TP flight training syllabus. All right, so the next one is the attitudes and movement. So I'm just going to read off a little bit of the syllabus here. So the next one, so the instructor will demonstrate and the student will practice attitudes and movement before proceeding to lesson 1.2. The student will be able to control the aircraft by demonstrating correct understanding through the safe operation of the aircraft without assistance from the instructor. So the instructor will demonstrate how to conduct the pre-flight inspection of the aircraft and complete the necessary pre-flight paperwork, aircraft startup, taxiing, checklist use, basic radio procedures will also be demonstrated by the instructor. The student will observe all these steps, but no practice on their part is required. So that's the next one that we're doing is going to be the attitudes and movements. So I plan on going out to area 1 Bravo. I'm going to bring up that chart again. Just give me 1 second here. No, man. Seems like it wants to reload every time I bring it up. All right, but anyways, so that's the next flight that we have planned. Probably be about an hour 20 minutes or so. But for now, I'm going to stop the stream here. And again, if you like the channel or you like the idea of what we're going to be completing here, leave a like, leave a comment, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the future. Cheers.